How do we have a normal conversation when we are interacting with non-believers? How do we prevent conversations from escalating into internet arguments where you are just yelling at each other every single time, which just makes the discussion fruitless? This verse in Proverbs 15 verses 1, one of my favorite proverbs because it is so applicable that all of us need to add in our lives, teaches us how to interact with other people. And of course, I've made videos on this. I mentioned the verse in Colossians 4, how the way we act should be seasoned with salt. But this actually gives us a guide. One verse gives you a guide on how to interact with anyone you talk to. It doesn't even have to be non-believers. It could be with other Christians. And of course, the book of Proverbs is written by Solomon. And as I'm reading through the Old Testament right now, I am at the point in Second Chronicles, that's where I'm at, where I am learning more and more about Solomon's life. This man was someone who was born from David and Bathsheba. Even though their marriage was an adulterous one, God still he still had favor towards David. And that favor went to Solomon. And when Solomon was born, God had promised David that he would be blessed. And so there's one day where God appears to Solomon in a dream and he asks Solomon, "What do you want? You can ask for anything and I will grant it to you." And Solomon, instead of asking for the riches or a long life or something that a king would seek for, he asks for wisdom. The reason is because he wants to discern the kingdom that God has given him. Because without the spiritual discernment, how will he lead a kingdom that God has given him? And so that leads into his life. And of course, the end of his life is not the most promising or best life. But during his life, he writes the book of Proverbs. And as I mentioned multiple times, the book of Proverbs' purpose is to help the Christian how to succeed. It's to help you how to succeed in life. Other wisdom literatures are reflecting, like Ecclesiastes, are reflecting on Solomon's life at the end and what he has learned from it, but Proverbs is built to give you advice, tips on how to succeed in life. And so with that context being set in place and why this book is filled with so much literature, wisdom, let's read verses 1. Verses 1 of Proverbs 15 says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. It may be really short, and one of the reasons why is these are just short sayings of Solomon, so they're not built with like a letter where you have one chapter building into the next. Rather, you have short to little verse or sayings from Solomon. But this is something that we can all definitely take in account in our lives, definitely see where we need to fix up on, because all of us, I know, at some point hasn't spoke to people the way we should be at one point. Sometimes whenever there's an argument going on, it will just escalate more and more and more until it explodes. But if we were to take the wisdom from Proverbs chapter 15 verses 1, if we were just to stop and think about and see the advice that Solomon is trying to give, respond gently, quietly, could be. Respond with something that is not going to ignite the conversation again. Oftentimes, we are built with a self-ego needing to prove ourselves right every single time and to talk over the person who we are speaking to. But the Bible actually teaches us something different. It actually teaches us that we should be doing the opposite, that actually speaking harsher words to people, talking over people, adding gasoline to a fire that is already igniting is actually the wrong thing to do, and the right thing to do is to calm the situation down. I find no better example than what I saw last week at a rally, or not a rally, but kind of like a protesting in Texas. And the protesting, and it wasn't even a protest, it was pretty much a peaceful protest. It was a group of people who came to fight for the abortion movement, to say that babies actually have rights, and that is a different topic that I could probably speak about in another video, but to say that babies have rights and that they should not be murdered at such a young age. And what did the cops do? They came and they weren't congratulating them or giving them their rights. They basically escalated the situation than it needed to, and they kicked them out and arrested 6 of them there. And so it surprises me that, and this is not for all cops, but many cops who are trained to de-escalate situations are only escalating situations even more because they're not taking the advice that the Bible gives. And the Christians were actually de-escalating the situation. Some of them complied and some of them didn't, and some of them were thrown into jail. But my point is that even the people who are taught to de-escalate situations or to protect people's rights are the ones that are turning into the fools, as Proverbs describes. And so my prayer for you is that wherever place you are at in your life, that we will all take the advice that Solomon has given in this beautiful book to respond gently when we are in conversations with people. There's no need to yell. It doesn't bring fruit, and it only makes you look bad when other people see it. I hope this video blessed you. On that note, take care and God bless.